and I just got one more thing to say. How about them Cowboys?
What's going on, Cowboy Nation and Angry Cowboy fans around the world? Y'all know who it is. It's your boy, the Angry Cowboys Fan, back with another video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about today's segment of Undisputed with your boys Keyshawn Johnson, Richard Sherman, and the Crypt Keeper of the Dallas Cowboys, Skip Bayless. But I don't want to waste you guys' time, so I want to get into this first clip. This first clip we got is of Keyshawn Johnson. So go ahead, Keyshawn. Take it away.
I think they picked the right guy. I think they got the right guy. Rex would have been great too, Skip. But I think in this situation, given the fact that Zim spent 12 years on the sidelines in Dallas.
He did.
Okay, defensive back coach, couple years under Dave Campo. And I was like, Campo was the head coach of the Cowboys?
He was. Can you believe it?
That was so long ago. God, those are bad years. And then he spent 4 with Bill Parcells. So there's some familiarity there. He understands the way.
He coordinated
for us. And there's familiarity. He understands Jerry. Jerry understands him. He knows the city. Like, he just knows what being a Cowboy is all about. So it works perfect. You got a great offense. Now you got to put your defense together. If you hire Rex Ryan, you're becoming aggressive. Gaping cavities and holes wide open in the secondary if the blitz doesn't come. No, all those sort of things.
We had that last year, whether we blitzed or not, but go ahead.
But you now have a coach who is not as aggressive, but it could be aggressive at times, who's coordinated pretty good defenses in Cincinnati as well as Minnesota.
He did.
He's not far removed from coaching. You know, he's just a head coach a couple years ago, so he's still fresh.
And as you kept saying, he was hovering around Deion's program all year in Colorado.
Exactly. And on top of that, you know how we always talked about Dan Quinn waiting to be the next guy? Well, I wouldn't run away from Zim waiting to be the next guy if it don't go well with Mike McCarthy either.
Keyshawn thinks that we did the right thing. The Dallas Cowboys picked the right guy. I like Mike Zimmer's attitude. I like him as a person. I like him as the coach that I saw in Minnesota. I like the way that he is with the players. I've been watching other YouTube content creators breakdowns of Mike Zimmer's schemes and how it could be beneficial to the Dallas Cowboys defense and the personnel that we have right now. Don't get it twisted. Jerry Jones has to get the personnel in order to get better, to have a better outcome than what we had with Dan Quinn. I've heard people say the Cowboys are running it back, but that's far from the case, y'all. If I'm not mistaken, we have 16 guys up for free agency. Not all those players will be returning to the Dallas Cowboys. But with the core pieces to that Cowboys defense, I believe our defense can regain that top 5 spot. But Richard Sherman had a lot of insightful things to say about Mike Zimmer. So we're going to take a listen to that clip, and then we're going to come back and unpack my raw and uncut. All right, Sherm. Take it away.
What I would say, I mean, he has been a really solid head coach. Minnesota was really competitive for a number of years, always had great players, disciplined, sound scheme. But I thought near the end for Zimmer, teams found answers for a scheme. That's why in 2020 they were 29th in points allowed, 27th in yards allowed. 2021 they were 24th in points allowed, 30th in yards allowed, because the league is cyclical. And he did a great job early on. If you look at 2019, they were 5th in points allowed and 14th in yards allowed. They figure things out. Right now, it's teams running too high. Hey, keep a cap on the defense. We don't want Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow bombing everybody. We want to make them walk the ball down the field and game manage. I think it's going to evolve back to cover 3 and guys going back, dropping a safety in the box, not letting people run the ball as successfully as they have. But I hope that he adjusts with the times, and I think that might be a reason they didn't hire Rex. Rex hasn't been in the game in a long time, and his scheme is very pressure centric. It's very he might drop a D tackle into the deep third and blitz everybody else. You know, he does a lot of unconventional things. And I think Zimmer runs a very sound scheme, a scheme you can explain, a scheme that has answers for just about everything. You know, it may not be as sound against the run as Irv said yesterday, and rarely are they top 10 in run defense, but he's usually right there in points, usually right there. And I think it's going to be sound. They're going to be good in the red zone. They're going to keep points off the board, even if they give up some leaky yards at times. So I think it could be a good fit, but it's just such a hard situation to walk into because expectations are so high. And if you're not meeting them, Key, right now, everybody go.
What in the hell did Richard Sherman say at the beginning? I couldn't get past it without laughing. But anyhow, this is something that I think the Dallas Cowboys defense suffered from, and that was worried about getting the sack or the quarterback pressure instead of, the running back leaking out of the backfield. Being overzealous in pursuit of the quarterback. That's one thing I thought that plagued the Dallas Cowboys. It wasn't until, who was it? It was George Kittle that said, this is the recipe, this is the playbook in order to beat Philadelphia, and we stopped being so overzealous. And it worked. But Zimmer gets pressure, and don't get it twisted, he gets pressure more on strategy. He's more strategic. He schemes pressure more. He did say teams found an answer for his defense, but evolution is key in the NFL. Things change all the time. Schemes change all the time, or at least they should, Dan Quinn. Y'all want my raw and uncut? Y'all want my raw and uncut? All right, here you go. During Super Bowl Sunday, I was shocked. I was really shocked by Rex Ryan's grit and determination to say on live television during the Super Bowl that Mike didn't have that job just yet and pretty much gave his last-ditch sales pitch to try and get the job. I admire that he said it's not like he's out there trying to join a team, but it had to be the right situation, and he sees the Cowboys as the right situation. He fought until the end to get that job, and I started feeling like he could translate that characteristic to the team, to the locker room, to the defense. One thing that scares me is that he says the run defense was a bit of an issue. We're coming from the run defense being an issue. But I feel our run defense last year was an issue due to the coaching as well as the lack of the personnel. Also, before Zimmer got fired, he had more of a role and responsibility as the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Not here, bro. Your job is the defense. Your job is the defense alone. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about calling timeouts. You don't have to worry about none of that. You just have to worry about the defense. I like the fit, though. I like the fact that we have finally settled the defensive coordinator soap opera. We can move on into personnel, the free agency, and the draft now. Zimmer, you can get to work. And it's going to be a task. You got to get to work figuring out where you're going to put the pieces, how you're going to use Micah Moore. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys try to pick up an edge rusher, a linebacker, and a defensive tackle in the draft. And with the free agency, Mike Zimmer's going to have his hands full getting this defense ready for the 2024 season, but I am not going to set expectations. They can show me better than they can tell me. Speaking of expectations, I got to say this, guys, and I'm probably going to go on a rant, but speaking of expectations, did you hear Keyshawn Johnson say the days of Dave Campo as the head coach were bad years? We've been 12-5 for 3 consecutive seasons, and there are some Dallas Cowboys and Cowboys Nation still asking that the whole thing be blown up. They want to get rid of Dak Prescott because he ain't it. He can't do what Patrick Mahomes does, and that's being the NFC Championship every year. Asking for something no other team has done except for the Kansas City Chiefs. Dak Prescott's not it? No. Other quarterbacks have not been it for the past 2 years, and only 2 other quarterbacks can be included as it within the last 6 years, and that's Matt Stafford and Tom Brady. Well, I say that to say this. The expectation of some Cowboys fans are super wild. Continue to say things like, well, he won't get us past the divisional round, or he can't lead us to the Super Bowl. What are you expecting out of this 4th round pick out of Mississippi State? Where do you think he should have us? Before even playing a single snap of football, some Cowboys fans already have the Dallas Cowboys making the playoffs, and they better make it to the NFC Championship. And when they don't, Dak Prescott choked. Even though the entire team collapsed, it's Dak Prescott's fault. The past 2 playoff appearances against the San Francisco 49ers, I put that on Dak Prescott. But the Green Bay Packer game, no such thing. What I'm saying is a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans know hurt. We know pain. We know what it feels like to not even make the playoffs consecutive years in a row. The last days of the Landry era into the early years of the Jimmy Johnson era. 7-9, 7-8, 3-13, 1-15, 7-9. Those were consecutive years, by the way. Then into the Dave Campo days of 5-11, 3 consecutive years. Is that what we want, Cowboys Nation? That's what we'll get if the team is blown up and extensions aren't done. I know I went off on a tangent, but I had to say this because there's been so many comments that have thrown me for a loop. Like, how would you get a better team this way? All I have to say is curb your expectations when it comes to Mike Zimmer. Curb them until they show us that it's a fit and that it's a fit that'll work. We can hope and we can wish and we can pray. We can be fans. But at the end of the day, they have to show us. People start breaking TVs and crying during the games because their expectations weren't met. The bigger the expectation, the bigger the disappointment. This has been your boy, the Angry Cowboys Fan. What did you think about what Keyshawn Johnson and Richard Sherman have to say? Do you feel that Mike Zimmer is a better fit than Rex Ryan? Y'all let me know in the comment section. If you like what I do here, please don't hesitate in dropping a like on the video. It helps the channel out a lot and it gets the content out to even more Dallas Cowboy fans. If you're DC for life, win, lose, or draw, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell so you can stay up to date with the Angry Cowboys Fan whenever I go live or whenever I release a video. I'm flying out tomorrow, going down to North Carolina to spend some time with my brother, and we're going to be hitting up a horror movie convention. I got to see my guy Kane Hodder. Until then, this has been your boy, the Angry Cowboys Fan, and I'm out.